Are you an author, artist, entrepreneur, creative, or someone with a powerful story to share? Then it's time to take your seat on the Melissa Banks Show, where conversations inspire, empower, and move you to action. This is more than an interview. It's an opportunity to share your journey, showcase your work, expand your visibility, and connect with an audience that is ready to hear your message. If you're boldly pursuing your purpose and making an impact, I want to hear from you. Book your feature today at dreamdmd.com. The Melissa Banks Show, where dreams are spoken, stories are honored, and purpose takes center stage. What if love wasn't about finding the perfect person, but choosing the same imperfect person over and over again for a lifetime? In my 70s love story, 50 plus years later, Dr. Velma Bagby doesn't invite you to a fairy tale, but a real love story. Get your copy of my 70s love story, 50 plus years later, now on Amazon as an ebook, paperback, hardcover, or audio. You can contact Dr. Velma at drvelmatalks@gmail.com. DJ Tracks Creator. We specialize in providing top-tier entertainment for corporate events, holiday parties, and business gatherings. With a professional approach and a deep understanding of diverse audiences, we create the perfect soundtrack to elevate any occasion. So whether it's a formal gala, a lively holiday celebration, or a team-building event, we bring the right energy to match your vision. Let us set the tone for your next event, because great music makes great memories. Contact us at 601-331-1031. Welcome to the Melissa Banks Show. I'm your host, Melissa Banks, and I'm excited that you decided to join us today. This show is all about celebrating the journeys of authors, entrepreneurs, creatives, people who are boldly chasing their dreams, creating meaningful products and services, and inspiring you to do the same. Each episode will uncover the stories behind the successes, the lessons learned from challenges, and the advice that can spark action in your own life. So my goal is simple: to remind you that your dreams are possible and to leave you feeling inspired and empowered. I'm super excited. So let's get started with today's show. Our guest today is Dr. Velma Bagby. Dr. Bagby is a best-selling author, a media personality, a speaker, a coach, an ordained minister, and I probably forgot a title, but welcome to the show, Dr. Velma. Dr. Velma will be sharing her incredible story with us.
Thank you for having me, Melissa, and you did a wonderful job. You really did. I was sitting here thinking, okay, great. I don't have to say it.
I was like, I'm determined to get them in there. So, Dr. Velma, I'm excited to talk to you today. We've talked before. We've been on together on my show and on your show, but I wanted us to focus on the journey to my 70s love story, 50 plus years later. Congratulations on all the success of this amazing book. But
thank you.
Talk to us about why now? Why was this the time for you to share your love story with the world?
I was talking to my publicist as I was writing this, and we were going over, things that I was planning to include. And I shared the title. He was the one that came up with the idea of putting the plus as a word. And as I was moving through, hoping to finish it in time for my 52nd wedding anniversary in February, I got closer to the time and I was about 25,000 words in, and I heard God tell me, nope, this is not the content. I always try to ask for his wisdom and his guidance, and I heard clearly, this is not it. I said, wow. So I had to tell my publicist I wasn't releasing anything in February. I was going to eliminate a date to get it out there and wait until I actually created it with the content I was supposed to add. And when I got the inspiration to put the content I needed to put in there, I realized it had to be a transparent look at some of the challenges we face throughout our marriages and what we had to stand up against in order to build what we have and what we celebrate today.
Oh, awesome. It's nothing like feeling that you're doing something, but that thing over here is saying, this is not the thing. This is not it. You feel like it's it and you want to keep pushing. But how great it is you were obedient and said, no, I'm going to stop right here. Even though you were 25,000 words in.
25,000 words.
That's a lesson right there. All right. Out the door. Absolutely. 50 plus years, though, Dr. Velma. How
Yes.
incredible is that? 50
Yeah.
plus years journey. What are some of the defining moments that shaped your relationship over the decades?
Well, the first one was how we met. That's the reason I talk about it. We starting off as our story like a rom-com story, and it wasn't something I was expecting because I wasn't looking for it. And, you know, I wasn't looking for a husband at the time. I was in 10th grade, 16 years old, but it occurred. I wrote the list, my husband to be prayer list, like my Bible teacher told us to, and met who would become my husband later, met him 2 weeks later
Oh
in
my
English.
goodness.
And the same English teacher we had at that time, we rented our first apartment from him. And then our duplex we rented from him. Didn't realize he had all that property out in the area.
Wow. So you met your husband at 16, your husband at 16,
Hmm.
and you had your list. Did he meet everything on that list? You see,
Here's
I,
the
I
thing.
never had a husband to be list. Maybe that's the problem.
I had a husband to be list, but what I focused and share with people is the stuff you don't put on a list. I was 16 and the teacher wasn't clear about making sure you put characteristics. Of course, I wanted him to know God, all of that. But I put some superficial things like the things that a lot of women chase after these days. I call them conditions, things that don't matter and they'll change with time. How much money he makes, that's fleeting. That can
Mhm.
flip flop throughout your marriage. And then how tall he was. I said, God, give me someone 6 feet. Please let him have bowed legs, that kind of craziness. And none of that stuff matters because all of that stuff changes within time. So had she given us more clear details, I probably would have had a better list. But I know how to do the list now, and that's what I teach other women. What really should that list look like in terms of the characteristics you're looking for in a mate?
Wow, that is wonderful. Now, Dr. Bellman, I know every lasting relationship or every lasting story faces challenges, though.
Yes.
So, I know it wasn't 50 years of bliss. So, talk to us about some of the things that you guys had to overcome and what lessons did those experiences teach you?
I think that's why I wanted to take this approach, and I believe that's why I was inspired to do it because so many out there need to see and need to know what it takes to build a lasting relationship and what things you should be looking for in the person in the very beginning. And that's been kind of my conversation since I began writing. I think what I wanted to share was that, girl, I'm trying to think of your question right now.
Okay,
I,
let me repeat it for you.
okay.
Okay. I said that every lasting love story has challenges. What
Yep.
obstacles did you guys overcome together, and what lessons did those experiences teach you?
Some of my chapters are named after those challenges. Things like the bankruptcy that tried to break us. How we were. Um, I think I had another one that was called An Introduction to Our Struggle, and then my favorite is Moving Out So God Can Move In.
Hmm.
That was one of my favorite titles. Broken and Brought Back Better. I wanted to describe what the content of that particular moment, and I wanted people to see that those were some of the things that challenged us. And many times I've watched so many couples walk away from their marriage when those kind of moments happen to them. And I wanted people to see that these are the things you hold on to and fight together because you're really choosing each other every day. And that's the whole idea. And the goal is that God is always honored in what we do. So I have to treat my husband as God expects me, and he has to treat me the way God expects him to treat me. And so we try to keep God at the center of it, which is what we're supposed to do. And he's the only one that helped us to overcome a lot of these things that came up against us.
Well, thank you for that because we wanted to make sure that I wanted to make sure that people understood that yeah, y'all been together for 50 years, but there were some things there that
Yeah.
you overcome.
Yeah.
Sometimes we give up so quickly and move
Yeah.
through that instead of overcoming it. Let me take a moment, Dr. Velma, and reset. If you're just joining us, this is the Melissa Banks Show. Our guest today is Dr. Velma Bagby. Okay, Dr. Velma, talk to us about the writing process. I know I'm in the process of writing a book, about my life. And that to
Yeah.
me, just living some of those moments became so vivid while I was talking about them in the writing process for the book. I wasn't prepared for that because they felt like yesterday when they've been 30, 40 years ago. So how was that process for you? And were there moments that became overwhelming or very emotional for you?
I think the ones that became very emotional were the ones that were the hardest of the hardest times. And I describe storms differently than fires. I believe God sends the fires, but the storms are just created from attack. And I always say that the minute you say I do, you created an enemy for yourself automatically, because the enemy of our souls hates unity and agreement, the very thing God says we should have in a marriage. So he's going to come after you, and you have to know who your true enemy is. And I always say your true enemy doesn't have a face. So I can't blame my husband and he can't blame me. We have to look at the real faceless enemy that's stirring up stuff in our lives. And so we try to look at that as much as possible. I really wanted to make sure that I showed that side of our lives, that fires are fires that God sends, so because he's burning off what he cannot use for what he's trying to use your life for. Maybe it was for our testimony. Maybe it's for now that we can tell everybody else what we endured and what we went through. Who knows? But I do know this, that God is always in control of all of it if we allow him to be a part of the marriage the entire time.
Absolutely. So, Dr. Velma, what do you believe has been the key to maintaining love, commitment, and friendship through the different seasons that you all have had?
I think sometimes we overlook the subtle, not the subtle, but the simple love messages. I've watched women wait for something big that he's going to buy, the car, the diamond, something that, because when we first got married I couldn't even see the diamond in my ring. So that's kind of where we started. I mean, my husband replaced my rings multiple times to give me something sizable, but that really wasn't the point. Is sometimes we have to really look at the little and subtle things. We go on Starbucks dates. We go on a Starbucks date every day. That's what we do. If we're not too busy, if it gets busy, we wait for things to settle down. We say, "Are you ready? You ready?" And we head out to Starbucks. Everybody knows us there and knows our order. It's a moment to just pull back and just be ourselves. And that's something that people forget. It's the subtle, simple things that you can do every day to continue to build on your relationship together, to just remind the person, I haven't forgot about you. We're still in this together. So just communicating love as often as you can, because storms come, fires come. But if we choose each other and we learn to choose each other every day, then that's what helps us to survive, I believe. And the key to it all is making sure that God is always at the center.
I love
Sometimes I have to ask him a question. God, what should we do right now?
that.
I'm not agreeing with him. He's not agreeing with me. We can't come to a conclusion. Help us to come to some conclusion. When we step away from something we can't really figure out in that moment, then we'll leave it alone for a minute. And sometimes my husband will come back and say, you know what? I realize your point. I think we're going to go with what you suggest. And I'm in the back going, ooh, thank you, God. He heard you. Sometimes we have to know when to zip the lips and let God intervene. And it could be him praying for me to see something I need to see. Because I remember once we had a situation where I forgave him, because I know that at home you will live out those scriptures. Even if you didn't individually as a single person, you will live out scriptures at home. You must forgive. So I forgave my husband about the difficulties we had in settling the decision. And I forgave him, but I wasn't talking to him. I didn't tell him I forgave him. I just talked to God. So that night we got into bed. I got him on my side of the bed. He's in the bed. And finally he lifted up. He says, we need to settle this. God says, don't let the sun go down upon your wrath. And I hopped out of the bed. I said, okay, God, really? This is how you're going to teach me this principle? Is this the way you're going to do it? I said, okay, I already forgiven you. I just didn't tell you.
Yeah, I guess he said, well, maybe you needed to have told me,
Yes.
But I
Stop being
wanted to
sneaky.
say something though, Dr. Bellman. You talked about your Starbucks date. Sometimes I'm single, but I've been married before, and I really
Yeah.
just kind of listen to you. But you talked about your Starbucks date, and I just know that I know a lot of women that think the date has to be big and fancy
Yep.
and cost a lot of money in order
Yep.
for it to be special. A cup of coffee at Starbucks, to me, that's absolutely wonderful. And I'm glad you shared that to show that, you know what, it's not really what you're doing.
Hmm.
It's how you are spending the time and making the time. We get so
Yeah.
busy. You guys still, yeah, make the time. It may not be at 10 o'clock every day, but you
Right.
make the time. And that's
Make
very
the time.
special as well. Dr. Velma, what is it that you hope that your readers will walk away from, when they read
Um,
this book?
One of the things that really blessed me today was I interviewed for my series that's coming out this month, and the person had my book, and she said, I've been highlighting and underlining so much of what you said. Now, she's been married a little over 40 years. She said, but there are some things you say in there I really need to make note of. I really need to pay attention to. And that's what really blessed me. If something I said can help somebody else, or something I said might spark an interest in something they hadn't thought about before, then I believe I've done what I was supposed to do when I had to rewrite, start all over with the book. God said that content is not what I was doing kind of the and one day Cinderella lived, I was kind of starting like that with my, and God said, no, tell it. Make sure you be raw and real and tell it. And so when I heard her say what she said, that told me this approach was exactly what I was supposed to do so that it can help somebody else.
And I'm so glad you did because you are helping people. That's my next question to you, Dr. Velma, is who is the book for? Is it for married couples, singles, people looking to get married? Who is it for?
It's for, excuse me, it's for both single and married because my story began before I got married. And everybody that's single, your story begins before you get married. There are things you have to do to prepare yourself for that moment. There's things you need to understand what you should expect, how you should make the decision, how you should be intentional when you begin to now try to discover who God has for you. All of that I told my side so that that single person can now adopt some of the tips I offer and be intentional. And so it's not about high school dating where we're just giggly and having fun. No, I want to get to the truth of who you are. I want to know what your background is. I want to know what your goals are. I want to know what your plans are. I want to know how you'll treat a person. That's intentional.
Mhm.
And so I think that's what's important to me, that both the single and my telling my truth, walking through my life as a married woman, that will resonate with those that are married. So both sides can benefit from it because you'll learn what you can do when you do get married. You'll learn some things that you should not do, and you'll learn some things that you should apply. And some of the things, even as I talk about what we've experienced being married, can be applied even though you're not married yet. So you can begin walking out that thing now.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you for sharing your amazing love story with us all. Let us know how to stay connected with you, how we can get our copy of my 70s love story 50 plus years later, and just stay connected with all that you do.
If you want an autographed copy, you can always email me at drvelmatalks@gmail.com. But otherwise, all my books are available in ebook, audiobook, paperback, and hardcover on Amazon. And you can go onto Amazon to Dr. Velma Bagby.
Well, thank you for that. And thank you for sharing your amazing, incredible love story with us all. And thank you to our audience for being here today for the Melissa Banks Show. I hope today's conversation with Dr. Velma reminded you that your dreams are within reach, no matter
Yes,
where you're starting. So
that's
until
right.
next time, I'm your host, Melissa Banks. Remember, your journey is unique, your dreams are valid, and you have the power to design the life you love. So keep believing, keep growing, and keep shining.